Welcome to the Sun Festival of Cancer, and today's lecture is taken from the same lovely book that Jolene was reading from, Wisdom of the Zodiac, Volume 2, Chapter 15, I Build a Lighted House. The exact full moon time is going to be Tuesday at 3:58 p.m. The exoteric ruler of Cancer is the moon. The esoteric ruler is Neptune. And there are two keynotes, like every sign. For Cancer, the lower keynote is, let isolation be the rule, and yet the crowd exists. This lower keynote refers to those who are personality-centered. And at this stage, the person may feel isolated, alone, even when surrounded by others. They can be in a family, they can be in a group, and they will still feel alone and isolated. Lost in the illusion of separativeness, he or she may find it difficult or impossible to really connect with others, with their family members, with friends, with groups, on any lasting and deep level. And this lack of connection then leads to loneliness, even more loneliness. It leads to depression, isolation. It can lead to mental health disorders. And if we read about, these terrorists who are all over the world now causing destruction, and people will describe them as loners. So often, more often than not. Well, I didn't know much about him. He kept to himself. He seemed like an okay guy because they're loners. And a lot of people with mental health disorders are also loners. The higher keynote is, I build a lighted house and therein dwell. And this is the keynote for soul-centered disciples. He or she feels a universal connection with everyone, with their family, with their friends, with groups, with the higher worlds, with the environment, with all the kingdoms of nature. And because of this connection, they bring in more light into their house. And then they give out this light in everything that they do. In every group, in every family grouping that they're in, they give out this light that they have built. In Esoteric Astrology by Alice Bailey, we read, is the house you are building yet lit? Is it a lighted house? Or is it a dark prison? If it is a lighted house, you will attract to its light and warmth all who are around you. And the magnetic pull of your soul, whose nature is light and love, will save many. If you are still an isolated soul, you will have to pass through the horrors of a more complete isolation, a more complete loneliness, treading alone the dark way of the soul. Yet this isolation, this loneliness, this separation in the dark night are all part of the great illusion. It's part of the great illusion that you are alone. At every full moon, disciples will study the significance of these two keynotes and ask themselves, am I expressing the lower keynote or am I expressing the higher keynote? And it's a time to reflect on what we have built, meaning our house, and strive to express the higher keynote in order to bring in greater light, and greater love and spiritual will and beauty. From the book, The Wisdom of the Zodiac, Volume 3, we read that knowing that the great full moon period is coming, I wanted to emphasize the importance of the full moons. There have been lots of medical and scientific literature about full moons, how the full moon affects the human body, the human psychology, relationships, mind and mental problems, as well as our agriculture. If we know about the phases and the science behind the full moons, we can really live a life that's very scientific, very normal, very beneficial. Different phenomenon are observed in the heart. The radiation of the heart and the control of the heart upon the body, and also heart failures. They're mostly related to the phases of the moon. The interesting thing is that the moon not only attracts water, the liquid systems of the world, toward itself, but because a human being is built by 90% of water or liquid, it also has an effect on our bodies. Most of your liquid at the full moon time is accumulated in the upper section of your body. The moon is our mother. Our earth was originated from the moon. The Tibetan master, talking about the moon, says that we inherited our mother's vices and virtues, and also different tendencies that are devastating humanity at the present. He says that we inherited crime from the moon. Sexual diseases came from the moon chain. The full moon's etheric body is disintegrated. The moon is a dead body, so this body is disintegrating. And as it disintegrates, it causes disintegrative processes in the human psychology, meaning we're falling apart if we identify with these vices from the moon. For example, at the full moon time, your glamours and illusions, which means your negative emotions and destructive thought forms and low kinds of instincts, are stimulated. Now, at the full moon time, because the energy of the moon is at its maximum, nature prepares us in such a way that the sun shields the moon, and the moon's radiation does not reach us. And that is why it's a good time for meditation, for striving, for devotional works, for prayers, and watchfulness. We have an emotional tie because we have inherited the feelings of the moon entity. For example, hatred, anger, revenge, treason, fear, all these emotions are coming from the moon. When we assimilate them and make them part of our body, we activate these influences of the moon upon us. So when we are in anger or fear, just think of these as ancient vices that somehow became stimulated. And these came from the moon. Separatism. We are all told that the moon was devastated because of the separatism carried on from the beginning to the end by that chain. And we're seeing how separatism is causing havoc and chaos in our world today. What can we do during the full moon time? In the 3 days, one day before, the day of, the day after, you're going to make efforts, physical and emotional and mental efforts, to sublimate and transcend the weaknesses that you have. In this time, you are tuning not with the moon, but with the sun, through the sun with the zodiacal sign that is connecting itself to the sun, and through the sun, the planet. So we can think about the constellation, the sign of Cancer, and building a lighted house at this time. And what traits do we need in order to build a lighted house? What do we need to throw out in order to keep our house lit? Having this information that we've inherited these vices or glamours from the influence of the moon, can we take a glamour, just one glamour that we have observed in ourselves, that has become part of our nature, our mechanical nature? It's now part of our instinctual nature. Can we take one glamour and then take steps to conquer it? Separatism, for example, we're seeing how examples of this are so destructive. And this is an ancient moon chain bug. These are like bugs. And yet it's still creating pain and suffering today. Have we exterminated this bug in our nature? Do we have any prejudice? Or do we feel a universal acceptance of everyone, of every culture and every religion and every race and every gender? If so, then we are moving away from the moon and we're going towards the sun, towards the purpose of the planetary life. The symbol for Cancer is the crab. And the crab is a creature that carries its home wherever it goes. It just goes in and it has a home. And we too carry our home wherever we go. It's our physical, emotional, mental bodies. This is our home. And we carry it wherever we go. In esoteric astrology, the moon rules Cancer. In exoteric astrology, the moon rules Cancer and the fourth house. And the fourth house rules the home, our foundation, the foundation upon which we have established our way of life. It rules our inner emotional security, the mother, the beginning and end of life. It also rules the stomach, nutrition, digestion, the subconscious mind. Think of all the moon bugs in the subconscious mind. Water and the public. Some key words associated with the moon are receptive, moody, protective, sympathetic, worry, habits, and patience. Quote, "We are celebrating the sun in Cancer. And as previously stated, the motto of Cancer is, 'I build a lighted house wherein I dwell.'" It's very interesting that it is on the full moon of Cancer that we receive the permit to build our lighted house. When we think of a permit, before we can build our awning, we had to go to the county and get a permit, like a permission, in order to put up the awning. So we receive this permit during the sign of Cancer to build our lighted house, our sanctuary. So as stated before, Cancer and the moon rule the fourth house of the inner emotional security of the home upon which we have established our present way of life. We all left our parents' house with its particular energy, its particular feel, its particular look and furniture. And we started to create our own home with its particular energy and feel and look and furniture. It's a reflection of us. What we have built is a reflection of us. Not only this, but even our home that we live in. Chances are our home that we live in is quite different than our parents' home. And we are different than our parents. In many ways, we don't live the same life as our parents did. We accumulated the furniture for our home that we are now living in, our physical, emotional, and mental furniture. How much do we identify with our home or our present level of consciousness? What with its furnishings, which could be our habits, our glamours, our opinions, its grandeur, which could be our wealth or poverty, its gardens and properties, or our reputation, how others view us, how much are we attached to that? And this is the house that we built. Consciously or unconsciously, we are the architects of our beingness. Quote, what is the temple? The temple is the projection of our achievements, the level of our consciousness. Do not forget this. Any temple you are building is built with the substance of the level of your consciousness. When you achieve a certain degree of spiritual construction within yourself, or within the group, within the nation, that group, that individual, that nation build exactly to the level of its consciousness. So if we look at our country, we built it according to the level of our consciousness. England built according to the level of the consciousness of the people who live there. Quote, great works are done when people understand the substance of that project and wholeheartedly, enthusiastically bring their share to build a temple in which man and higher forces are going to meet with each other. So we can look at the formation of the United States of America, which came into its own during the sign of Cancer. Think of Cancer being the fourth sign of the zodiac, ruling the fourth house of the zodiac, and the 4th of July. See this commonality here. We were once part of the home of England, but we received a permit to get our own country. Who gave us that permit? Hierarchy said it's time. It's time to build this new country. So we got our permit, but it didn't mean that we all of a sudden had a home. We had to fight for this home, just like the crab fights. If you've ever watched crabs, they're feisty little things. They will fight anything and everything around it. Well, we too had to fight. We had to fight for this country. We wanted to create a more progressive and independent kind of house. No longer ruled by a king or a queen, but by the people. It was a great experiment. It was a great work. And if we read the biographies of the founding fathers and mothers, we see that they weren't perfect, but they understood the substance of that project wholeheartedly, enthusiastically, and they gave their knowledge, their expertise, their resources, and their lives in order to fulfill the work that needed to be done. We read instances where there are great obstacles against them. In battles, men were running away. They had what they called a ragtag army. These people were in rags. Some of them had no shoes. They had very little to eat. Disease was getting them all. How did we win against the redcoats? How did we ever beat this formidable army? These miracles were the higher forces, guiding hand, meeting the lower forces. Man. Quote, this is the secret of a temple. Man, woman, and higher forces are going to meet each other through our singing, through our prayers, our lectures, meditations, and even our presence. It is beautiful to build a temple, to leave for the coming generations so that they continue to have a point of contact with higher forces. And we're living in a country that was built many, or a couple of centuries ago. They left this beautiful country so we can continue. Now, we're not waiting for enlightenment. Our striving and our sacrifice and selflessness attracts their notice of us, the notice of the guiding hand. We reach up towards them, and they reach down towards us. Quote, "You are equal to what you give. You are equal to your sacrifice. You are equal to that in which you forget yourself." This is such a fantastic fact. The more you forget yourself, the more advanced you are. The more you lose yourself, the more you discover yourself. These words spoken by Christ and different sages became platitudes, became cheap words. They lose their meaning if we do not go and dig into them and understand them and live by them. I challenge you to understand these words and the vision and the opportunity which it presents to you. So to forget ourself, our self-interest for others, it's a great gift if we have this built into our lighted house. Quote, "It is shocking to realize that day and night we are occupied in building our temple, our future in which we are going to live. Our every action, our every emotion and feeling, our every thought is building our physical, emotional, and mental environment, our future. Every time we are involved in any activity, we are involved in building our physical environment. Every time we are feeling or emotionally agitated or activated, we are building our emotional environment, which, like a sphere, is surrounding us, and we are in that sphere. We're in the fishbowl. Every time we are thinking or talking, we are building our mental environment. We are dying and taking incarnations forever, and every time we are taking incarnations and living 40, 50, 90 years, we are continuing to build our environments. We live in the center of what we built. Either this building is bringing us pain and suffering, or happiness and enlightenment, according to what we build with our hands and with our emotions and with our mind. You are your own creator. Do not complain if your physical body is not good. Do not complain if you have pain and suffering, because in the past, you exactly built what you are enjoying or suffering from now. In the past, you did works or actions that were mixed together. Some of them were painful for others. Some of them were joyful for others. And some of them, in mixing these two substances, you built your physical body half healthy and half unhealthy. If you know these things, then no one can manipulate you, exploit you. Christ gave such a great teaching. He said, if you lost yourself, you will find yourself. We are tied to our physical or emotional body in such a degree that we are horrified to see it. Even horrified to lose the dollars we have in our pocket. We are horrified to detach ourselves from something which we are not. Until you detach yourself from the things that you are not going to find your higher self. Because always you will be mixed with your not self. Our mental body is built of the substance that we created in higher levels through our lofty thinking. What kind of thinking do we have? If you film your thinking, which is going to happen in the future, you will see murky waters, clean waters, dirty waters, all mixed together. The greatest house we are supposed to build is a planetary house, a human body, a civilization, and a culture. We are building the most sophisticated, helpful instruments. But in other places, we are building the most destructive, poisonous weapons to destroy humanity. Look how contradictory they are. The contradiction is coming from our minds. There are 3 kinds of building. The first kind of building is unconscious building. We are living like donkeys, like animals. We do not know what we are doing. We're just following our blind urges and drives and instincts, and we are doing good and bad, everything. What is happening? Eventually, whatever you are doing is falling upon your head to awaken you, to awaken us to be conscious of what we are doing. There was a 3-year-old boy in the airplane when I was coming home from Switzerland. He was running all over the plane, hitting the hands and the feet of everybody. He was creating a mess. He was unconscious. And that is how human beings are. 3-year-old children. Yesterday I was reading something from the Tibetan master. He says that if we start educating people in how to build the life, the national life, the international life, the family life, very soon we will have joy and happiness and health beyond our imagination. The second way of building is evil building. You consciously build evil things such as poisons, insecticides, war machines, and so on. Consciously, you build them. Things that you build for destruction become things which you are destroyed by. The third kind of building is conscious building. Building better things. Why not build some beautiful body for the future? Beautiful heart for the future. Beautiful mind for the future. There's no escape. Living is building. Through your reactions and responses, you are building different mansions in your mental body, emotional body, physical body. You awaken and say, if life is building, a process of construction, continuous construction, how can I make myself build with wisdom and sanity, with future, with the understanding that I want to live in the future a happy and healthy, prosperous, successful, and dynamic life? Well, it's up to us now to start that building process, to think about, what am I thinking, what am I saying, what kind of emotions do I continuously exhibit? What am I building physically? Because this is building our future bodies. Quote, then you are going to find out what level you are going to build things. For example, you can build things on the line of vices, or on the line of virtues, or in the line of self-control, self-sacrifice. You can build also on the line of selfishness, ego, vanity, destruction. It is so strange, but the most important thing to see is this. Whatever you are doing and feeling and thinking is slowly, slowly, with unseen hands, building the temple in which you are going to live. Like an animal or like a human being. If you see the consequences of your speech, if you see the consequences of your thinking, the consequences of your feeling, you will be horrified. Because often in building, you are destroying your future. The time will come when you'll face an initiation and you'll have a crisis. You will either make a breakthrough or collapse. These are the times of crises. In these crises, there is something that happens. Perhaps some of you have hunches and evidence of this. Sometimes a moment comes when you fully realize that you are going to destroy things that you built in the past. You are horrified by seeing your past. You want to destroy it, and that is a period of suffering, of crucifixion, of your life, because you're undoing the things that you did physically, emotionally, mentally. It is the most horrifying period of your life. Suddenly you will be enlightened and see, what a dungeon I built for myself. And that dungeon is going to be with you for ages and ages if you don't destroy it. The physical dungeon will be for 100 years. The emotional dungeon will be for 5,000 years. The mental dungeon will reign 20,000 years. Whatever you built in your physical, emotional, mental lanes is connected like 3 halls in one temple, through which you are entering from one room and passing to another room. But it's the same building. The sign of Cancer gives us the science of living for the future, of building for the future. What are you doing for the future? It is so interesting that different materials are used in building the temples. For example, you built this temple with clay. You can build a temple with stones. You can build this temple with diamonds. Why not? In the Bible it says there are temples and certain stars which are built of diamonds. Imagine that. Why did they build the temple with diamonds? It is because they became diamonds. And diamonds became the usual material that they built with. It is not rare for them. They became diamonds. With what substance are you building your temple? Is it etheric, physical, emotional, or higher substance? The level of your consciousness is the level of the substance with which you are building your temple. It is very interesting that instead of living in the basement of your bodies, you can live in the top stories of your bodies. For example, the physical body has 7 dimensions, and you can build with the coarsest materials, or you can build with the highest materials. The emotional body is like that also. The higher you go, the more pure are your emotions. Your emotions become so subtle and so pure that eventually your consciousness reaches to the highest levels of emotion where all beauty and all joy is sensed. Can you imagine sensing all the beauty and joy that is around us, that is coming through the constellation of Cancer? The higher the substance you use and the higher your motivation you use to build your temple, the greater enjoyment and transformation and progress you live in the future. It is a mystery of life that every time you are building, even in any small amount, you are building something. We are told something very beautiful in the teaching. When you're doing any physical action, building, killing, whatever you are doing, this action is touching your essence, and it is producing a gas, a substance. And it's this substance that is building the body which you're using to create the gas. For example, emotionally, I am hating. I am in fear, anger, or jealousy, or revenge. These actions in the emotional body are touching my essence. My essence has the right key of the music. But when any wrong notes are touching to my essence, a substance is created which is conditioning that body that I'm using. You see how the mixed? And that is the deepest teaching which Master Morya gave. When our thoughts, emotions, and actions are not lofty and positive and harmless, they create friction with our essence. Master Morya says, when the children are 3 years old, teach them that they have started to build their future. Not only individuals are building their bodies, but nations are building their bodies. Humanity is building the human life. When the body of humanity is built, you are in it. If there is depression, you are going to pay for it. If there is war, you're going to go to war. If there is famine, you are paying. Dedicate yourself to actions that are beautiful and righteous and full of goodness and freedom and joy and sacrifice. And if you build this house, then you will have a house that forever you and your children will enjoy. And your building will change the building of life. Along with our outer temple, which is our future personality, and the environment we create, we build also our inner temple. The temple, the building of our inner temple, or the lotus, is a similar process. Every individual starts building his or her temple, or the lotus, and it takes many, many lives to finish this temple. We keep coming back to continue building it, where we left off. As in the physical plane, so in the subtle planes, there are builders. Builders are in etheric, astral, mental, and higher planes, and follow your instructions, your motivations. Some of your bodies are built way ahead of your time for future use, if you qualify yourself. The outer temple is built by our best actions, emotions, and thinking. The inner temple is built by our sacrificial life, a life lived not for ourselves, but for humanity. And when you think about the sign of Cancer, think how you can improve your future life on earth and in building a future for yourself. Also think about the inner temple in which your soul will grow and prepare to be a citizen of the cosmos. Thank you.